Me again, JC. You can't get rid of me that easily from CloudWorks. Now, if there's one thing you've probably learned by now, I'm not shy about getting on my soapbox, and really neither is CloudWorks. We like to think we're a very human-centered company and that we're about doing things in a human way. And that's really, really important for us when it comes to generative AI and what we're doing with things like agents. So what was really special about a recent interview I did with two of our customers who have actually made this technology live, Saksham, who's the Chief Data Science Officer at Allegis APAC, and Ben, who's the Head of Architecture and Digital at NPM Group, was we actually touched the third rail and talked about ethics, talked about what's the reality of how you're using something like generative AI and agentic systems like Agentforce in regulated industries and in industries where there's already some kind of thorny questions about what this technology will mean. Here is their honest and direct conversation. I think you're really going to like it. Check it out. All right, so let's touch the third rail if we can. Let's talk a little bit about ethics in AI. It's something that we have been talking about more and more. We think it's really important at CloudWorks that we are eyes open in how we're doing this. It's really important for us that this remains human-centered, and certainly I think you guys have seen our whole method for how we go about thinking about and designing agents is deeply, deeply human-centered and empathetic. We're increasingly thinking that actually a method maybe for what they call super alignment, which is trying to ensure that as the technology develops, we maximize the likelihood that it's going to be positively aligned with human intention, is if we ensure that we are building particularly agentic systems, so autonomous systems, with a deep level of empathy around like human condition. And so when we're interviewing your people and we're trying to learn about their jobs and what motivates them, again, I'm always talking about the amazing people at NPM Group that are just so motivated to get a great outcome for people in the program. What we're really doing is we're ensuring that at the core of that agent is motivational drive to maximize good. And that if we do that, then when we do wind up in a swarm world, a world with lots of agents, we're maximizing the likelihood that they are correctly aligned and that they're going to continue to perpetuate it. But that's at the technical level, that's us implementing it. For you guys, like from a business perspective, ethics is something that both of you have to grapple with, and it's particularly something which is being talked about in the context of Gen AI. So maybe with NPM Group then, right? People might think your job is money in the door and out the door, but that's not really true, is it? There's more to it than that.
Yeah. So, as a service provider, our success is based on satisfaction of our clients. We have a lot of stakeholders to keep happy: government, provider, regulation, legal. But literally, one of the core metrics strategically for us is metrics that we use to measure the satisfaction of our clients and our providers. You mess that up, you've lost your business. So whilst we have a lot of internal efficiencies that we're going to be unlocking, really strategically, what we're looking to do is see what we can do to provide the best service we can to our clients and providers.
When you're talking about client here, we're talking about a participant in the NDIS. We're talking about a very vulnerable Australian, right? Someone who is in need of help. And so we're not just talking about your usual CSAT score from like your telco provider. You're talking about someone who, like, that matters. That's really evaluating how they felt your service has helped them out. Is that correct?
That's right. So not just a participant, but also their family members, carers. So it's a tired parent who's got children on the scheme. Literally, we owe it to them to give them the best service we possibly can, because without them, we don't exist.
I think that's really important, and that's come through, again, I'm very happy to put on record, that has come through in every single interaction, every conversation with NPM Group, is that obviously there are pathways you could try to use this tech that people talk about to just minimize cost and maximize gain, but it comes at this risk. And this is what I think will act as the backstop to this risk, is that, sure, there'll be a race to the bottom, but there are plenty of people like NPM Group where it's just not an option, or they refuse to let that be the way they differentiate in the market. And I think this is a really important part of applied AI ethics. I've been having this conversation with a few people that really we should ask ourselves, if we haven't been measuring how we do on things like our quality of service, our substantive service, right, how they view our ethics, now's probably a good time. Because if we measure it well, we've got a control system, right, for how the AI is going to do it as well. Now, Saksham, I'm literally talking to a data scientist in recruitment. People at home may not know that that's almost like an inside joke. We've got textbooks about how thorny the ethical matter can be in things like recruitment. And one of the things straight out of the gate that I know has been talked about at Allegis very clearly is we're not really interested in what some of the scarier things people have seen online, where we're building a screener, right? We're building this person who's just going, not a person, this robot's just going to say to you, tell me everything about you. Okay, I'll let you know when I found you a job. That has not been the target at all. In fact, you talk very passionately about the very human role that recruiters play, and wanting to encourage that, to keep them even using like pen and paper, so that human contact is critical. I think this is a really important strategy too, because effectively what you've been able to do by saying that is like, there's all sorts of well-established thorny ethical questions in that box. New plan, let's just not go into the box. Have you felt that just deciding we're not going to apply AI there has limited your ability to find a range of different AI use cases and ways to add value?
See, as an organization, right, our main motto has always been build relation and maintain it, right? And you literally want to keep a balance between the customers and the candidates. The customers getting the right candidates, and the candidates finding the right opportunities, right? So you literally need to ensure that equilibrium is being maintained. Now, it's important. Now, if I literally have to bring in AI to understand, it's really important to get into that nitty-gritty of what the candidate actually wants. I say, I want to be a machine learning engineer with this skill sets, right? The customer comes with that, this particular candidate needs to have this. Like, okay, it's very difficult, right? But it's very important where we use AI is to get those deep insights of the candidate's understanding, right, as well as the customer's understanding, right? And then you try bringing them together, creating an ecosystem of the two worlds merging into one, right? And then you have that perfect Venn diagram, a union of the two, right? And that is
beautifully said. I can see your Venn diagram.
Yeah.
But you're saying that the intersection, if I extend your analogy, the intersection remains deeply human.
Every single time.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes for our internal workforce as well. Right?
Yes.
We literally mean to augment their work.
Yes.
Right? Remove that particular burden off their shoulders.
Yeah.
Just go there, meet people.
Yeah.
Right? Strike that relationship with them.
That's a really important phrase. Saying literally augment. One of the hashtags that you've literally heard for long before even Gen AI, right? Probably the last 10 years. We've been trying to talk about, AI means augmented intelligence. Like, we've heard the word augmented. But when you say we are literally trying to augment, I think that's a really important point. I think we are actually going to see, I'd say it's exactly the same thing at NPM Group, right? So that is no longer a hashtag or a weasel word to avoid this topic, right? Once you actually have a technology where you go, no, that can do the job, or large chunks of the job, you really do have to come face to face with this and go, well, is that the outcome I want? And what I think is incredible about like both your organizations, right here at the leading edge, actually doing it, like it wasn't even a conversation. Like, well, of course we're not going to do that. Like, of course we're not going to do that. Like, the entire value proposition of what we do is, like you said, that Venn diagram, which must remain deeply human. And I think a combination of these two things, a combination of being much clearer about the qualitative and human elements we're measuring in the execution of the business, gives us very clear things we can align the AI to, and again, immediately help us with some of these ethical questions about how we're interacting with the customer. And at the same time, also stepping back architecturally and just going, there are some areas the AI does not need to be. There is no reason for the AI to go into there when there are all these opportunities around here, right? And you actually do sidestep what is potentially a huge problem while still harvesting enormous value and benefit. And I do think there's going to be people in for a really rude shock if the first thing they try to do with this is just go, now we'll get rid of all the humans. I'm like, yeah, it's great, but the humans I know, they still want to know there are humans on the other side.
Exactly.
And I think we're going to be doing that for quite some time. So I think those are two really, really powerful lessons in the ethical application of this technology from two organizations for whom that is table stakes, right? It is not up for debate. Yeah. That is something we have to take really seriously. Thank you for that. Wow, like I said, amazing videos. If you like that, check out the entire interview because it is packed full of information that we are trying to get out to anybody who is interested in understanding generative AI, actually looking at implementing agentic AI like Agentforce in their organizations, or is just trying to get their head around all the buzzwords because we keep coming up with a new one almost every week. Check out the whole interview at www.cloudworks.co. I know you're going to enjoy it as much as I enjoyed interviewing them, and thank you for your time.